Let's have a look at DXO's wide colour gamut. Hello and welcome to this Fotospeed video with me, Tim Jones. Today we're going to be looking at something colour management related and looking at PhotoLab 7 from DXO and their new wide colour gamut for editing and also for printing. But first of all, a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fotospeed YouTube channel. And also, don't forget to sign up to the Fotospeed newsletter on photospeed.com. So, the wide colour gamut probably came in a PhotoLab 6, which is DXO's version of Lightroom, really. But I don't really like saying that because it is a little bit different. You may have used their silver effects before, and also their film packs and things like that. But their PhotoLab software is the organization software, the editing tool. It's got everything in that you'll probably ever need, to be honest. And I've used it a little bit, and I'm hoping to use it a little bit more, especially with the release of the PhotoLab 7, because that is really a jump forward as well. If their marketing material is to be believed, they have the advanced algorithms and things like that in there. Not too sure how much. I'm sure Adobe have that as well, and Capture One and things. But it's that kind of software. Wide colour gamut that DXO have basically designed or added into this software is the working space of the software. So on your screen, as you may know, we have sRGB, Adobe RGB, and ProPhoto is the largest colour space, shall we say. And then we've got also P3 as well, which is a different kind of colour space. As soon as we click print, we are still going to be hitting a custom profile or a generic profile, and that's going to be converting colours into the printer's colour space. However, this wide colour gamut, as said by DXO on their website, hopefully will get this gap a little bit closer for you. So when you've screen calibrated and everything's lovely, the colour's being displayed correctly, this colour space within your working colour space within your software will then hopefully display colours a little bit better for you, or you might see more of the colours so you don't get any nasty gamut warnings in soft proofing or anything. And I thought, well, this doesn't really kind of make a lot of sense to me, to be honest, hence why I spent 2 hours trying to research it and find out what it is. Now, what do DXO say on their website and in their kind of marketing material about this? Their first point is that the wide colour space is there to hopefully match your screen and your printer better. That's one of their first goals. The next one is that this wide colour gamut is bigger than Adobe RGB. There are certain areas that Adobe RGB is fantastic for printing in, and it's always the one we've recommended to use, and it's probably the closest to your printer's colour output, as in kind of colour gamut size. So it's a little bit bigger than that as well. So DXO say because of this, it allows your printer to print to its full potential. The magic happens in this wide colour gamut, it seems, when we are going from the raw file on our camera into the processing software. So this will, because it's going into the software, or PhotoLab 7, should we say, what happens is your camera sensor will have a native massive colour gamut of the camera. This changes slightly on different cameras, different sensor sizes, different pixel densities and all that kind of thing. I'm not going to go into that murky world. So you'll have all this lovely colour and all this amazing data actually on your camera and then on your memory card as your raw file. Then when you import that raw file into the PhotoLab 7, if you set Adobe RGB as the working space, as far as I understand this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that what will happen is, as that file's imported, obviously we go through a raw converter like Lightroom does, and Photoshop has a standalone one, and Capture One and things. And if you set the colour space, as it's imported, it will apply it to that colour space, and it has to convert the natives into the colour space that you're going to be working in. And DXO say this is where some clipping can happen, basically. So we're going to be losing some detail, losing a few shades of colour and things like that. But they say that the native colour space of your camera is then converted into the working space, and this is where some desaturation and kind of clipping can happen. Now, they also said this is in a very small amount, so it's very arguable if your eyes will be able to see this, to be honest, in some cases. Most normal colours will be absolutely fine, but it's with the really bright fluorescent colours and things like that that you might be losing a little bit of detail there. Now that's fine, because it comes in, you can see it on your screen. So you'll probably get, hopefully, if DXO's marketing is to be believed, that you will get a little bit more detail in your picture and the colours will be a little bit truer. So then how does this translate to an actual print? Because we can edit that picture on the screen. It's not so much that you might not be able to see that as well. If you've got a monitor that can only display sRGB, then you won't be able to see this effect anyway because your screen can't display it. This is my first issue with this, that you have to have a screen that can see a wider color gamut. DXO do on their website quote the new iMacs and the new Mac screens and things like that. It's one of the reasons they've developed this. But if your screen can't see this wider color gamut, or you're limited to Adobe RGB even, then maybe you might not be able to see or take advantage of this. DXO are saying that this color information is still there, you just can't see it on your screen. So if you wanted to mess around with the color, like the selective color tools, the hues and saturations, you'll have a greater scope and a better range of colors to play with. Also in black and white as well, because you'll have a greater tonal range to deal with as well. Because how digital cameras work, and you're converting, unless you've got a monochrome camera like one of the Leicas or something, or the Pentax, that when you are converting through the PhotoLab using basically silver effects that's built into it, you'll have all those lovely options as well, but because you've still color information you're dealing with and the hue and saturation sliders still work as well, you should have a little bit more tonal range to deal with basically. Now, that's how I understand it. If anybody else reads that, please, and you interpret it slightly differently, please just pop in the comments and we can have a chat really, because I'm quite interested in this and how it actually works and how it will actually affect prints, to be honest, because DXO say that basically it's at that point that it's the most useful. When you're editing your image on the screen, it's at that point that you will get less color gamut kind of warnings coming up in soft proofing, and that is the main part of it. However, they also do say with a properly calibrated screen, you should get some closer matches to print. And that comes back to my issues with soft proofing really, and that kind of idea that basically you still got a screen. It may be glossy, it may be kind of nice and satiny kind of feel to it, and it may be a very expensive screen as well. However, I haven't really seen a screen yet that can replicate paper. It can replicate kind of gloss papers and luster, but if you're talking matte papers, how can it kind of replicate those? Also, paper has its own gamut, to be honest, of what it can produce. It's usually a little bit more muted, especially on matte papers, but also the lighting conditions affect this as well. It really hasn't solved that kind of issue yet. It has given us, if the marketing material is to be believed, a lot more options with our color. How much that is, I'm not too sure, to be honest. So you're still kind of printing with Adobe RGB as a color space, but then if you're using profiles, that will also affect how things come out. We color match, obviously, for the printer's output as well. So the printer's color gamut will still be smaller. I think what this is all about is that editing within the software and the ability to perhaps eke a little bit more color out or get a little bit more lifelike colors coming out of it as well. You're still going to be stuck with your printer's largest color gamut, and also you're going to be stuck with your screen's largest color gamut as well. But all this will change also with the paper you're going to be using. I'm not sure if that has really explained DXO's wide color gamut at all, but that's me trying to explain it. So hopefully the pictures will make it a lot clearer and you can make your own minds up. I'm not saying it's a yes or a no. Thank you for watching. Sorry it's been a bit of a rambly one today, but don't forget to sign up to the Fotospeed YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button. And also, please, if you've read this, like I said before, please leave me some comments as well on this, because I'm still learning as well. I hope I'm kind of learning along with you with this, but I thought it was important to kind of just document my findings and then hopefully I can speak to DXO a little bit more and get some even more information for you in some later videos as well. But sounds quite exciting. So also don't forget to sign up to the Fotospeed newsletter on photospeed.com. Also don't forget our Art of Printing, the free ebook from Fotospeed. And we release new videos on the Fotospeed YouTube channel every Tuesday and Thursday. On that note, I will see you next week.